Hello, this is Thomas, K4SWL. Normally I do real-time, real-life amateur radio field activation videos, but today I'm not doing that. I'm actually here doing some work at our vacation rental, and Hazel's here with me. This morning she wanted to be a part of this, evidently, and today I'm going to try to answer a question. One of my readers, Vicky, had asked, what's in my Mountaintop or MTR-3B field kit? And I did a video, and I'll try to link to it up here, last year of a SOTA activation where I used this very same field kit, but I think I kind of breezed through what was in it, and she just wanted a more detailed look and maybe me talk about why I chose some of the things that are in this particular kit. So we're going to do that today. I've got the kit here with me, and I thought I'd just kind of go through this and make something I don't normally do, which is a quick video. So this is my MTR-3B kit that's built in a Pelican 1060 case. These cases are widely available. You can get them all kinds of places, camping stores, online, Amazons, REIs, pretty much any kind of store will have one of these cases. So I'll show you what all is in here. I will tell you really quickly, and I plan to do a few more of these. I realize that when I watch videos on YouTube from ham radio operators who do field work, I like to see how they pack their gear, and I'm really bad about not actually doing as many videos as I should about this, because I put a lot of thought and attention and time and everything into my cases and packs that I do, and I have different philosophies about them. I've actually written articles about this. I may go ahead and link to one up here that's on qrpr.com, because I wouldn't say I take it seriously. I just kind of delight in doing this. I really enjoy putting together field kits and seeing how other people do it. So anyway, you'll look for more of these sort of pack out videos, and I'll try to do it on some of my other field kits as well. So my MTR-3B is built into what I call a fully self-sufficient kit. It is inclusive of everything needed in order to do a POTA, or more importantly for this one, a SOTA activation. There are a few extra accessories that go in my backpack, like an e-board, a camping chair. I usually, when I do a SOTA activation, I try to make room for my Helinox camping chair, because I just enjoy that little bit of extra comfort, and it puts me in a good operating position, especially if I'm recording a video. It just makes it a little easier to do the video camera angle and everything, so I like doing that. But basically in this case, now this 1060 case, I have been using these cases since probably like 2005 or so. I have probably 4 of them or so in my field kit arsenal. I find it's a really useful size for the smaller radios, like my KX1, MTR-3B, an MTR-4B would easily fit in here, my MTR-5B, the SW3B. I haven't tried, I don't think, my TR-35, but as long as your radio is at least no taller than this case is, and would fit inside these dimensions, then it's a great kit. For the MTR-3B, it's a teeny radio, so there's a room for everything else I need in here. So this is a fully self-sufficient, completely contained kit. So if I have this with me, I know I can completely perform an activation. I've got everything I need in here for at least doing activations in this part of the world, where we normally have trees and something that I can hang an antenna on. Even on summits, we usually have trees here. So let me show you what's in here. But I will tell you that the reason I picked the Pelican for this, it's not the lightest weight option, not by a long shot, but I've run into a couple other SOTA activators early on. K2JB is one of them, Dean, and he's one of the most avid SOTA activators probably in the world, and he's local here, and I know Dean pretty well. And I remember that he was telling me he always kept his gear in a Pelican case, even though it was at the expense of some weight, because you can find a lot lighter weight options for packing your kit out, packs and sacks and things like that will not weigh as much as a Pelican case. But as he pointed out, there are 2 really good reasons why I like using this. Now, number one, no matter what happens to you, if you're trying to ford a creek or a river or something and your backpack were to fall in, this will not get wet, and here it is 100% waterproof. It'll float. It's fantastic in that regard. The other thing is it's crush proof. So no matter what I throw on top of it, no matter how hard it gets banged around, this is not going to crush the radio or anything in it. So I consider that to be very safe. That's why I use the Pelican case for this, and even if it weighs a bit more. So let's open this up, and I'll start to pull each item out and kind of tell you how it works. Now you may notice it kind of springs out. That's perfectly fine, and I'll talk a little bit more about that later. This is my Right in the Rain notepad. Now I could get a thinner notepad. I have many other options that wouldn't be, this bulky in here, but again, I feel like it's a nice trade-off. This Right in the Rain stuff works really well. This is a good size for me. It's easy for me to log on this, and so I like the size a lot. This is the smaller of the Right in the Rain pads I go for. This is the RD35. I'm planning to make another video, a really short video, just about the pads and pencils I tend to use in the field. But I'm a really big fan of these. They're not cheap. Right, you're going to be paying somewhere between $6 to $9 probably for each of these, but they last me a really long time, and I don't have to worry about if it's raining or something, or if these get wet in my pack. I don't have to worry about any of that. They're going to be absolutely fine. And that's the reason why I go to the expense of buying Right in the Rain pads. I will say that I usually wait until I find a good deal on these, and that's when I pick them up, and I'll pick them up well before I need any new ones. And over the years, I've been through, I don't know, probably 6 or 7 of these I've completely filled up with activation, so I like these a whole lot. They're just great. So anyway, that's Right in the Rain. Now, let's talk about the radio, and I'll pull this out first because this is like one of the key things here. It's not easy to do this way. This is not how I'd normally unpack, but I'll get in here and do this. Okay, so here's the radio, and this is the MTR-3B. And as you can see, it's tiny. It's so small that just look at it compared to the notebook. It's just such a tiny little radio. And I love this thing. I have 2 of them. Big fan of these. Even with the advent of the Elecraft KH1, I still really do love my mountain toppers. So it's a very small radio. When I pack it in here, I have this little 3D printed cover. This cover used to have, this is just printed with PLA, I think, and it had tabs on the sides that would hold it down and secure it, but they broke off because the PLA is not a very strong material. But I actually kind of like them broken off because it doesn't matter how I put this on here, it fits. And then my main concern is just protecting the front while it's in the pack. So I'll put this in here like this in the pack. And then if I put something else on top of it, it's not going to be pressing down on any buttons or messing with any of the switches. So if you have a 3D printer, this is a super simple print to do. Very easy, the most basic type of print you can do. So I would encourage you to just look on, I'll probably have a link to this on Thingiverse, but again, I don't even use the little tabs that are normally on here. And there's some other cases out there for the MTR-3B, but to me this is just fine. So there's the radio. And let's talk a little bit about some of the other accessories that go with it. This is the battery I use. And I have to thank Adam, K6ARK, who first put me onto these batteries. These are 9-volt USB rechargeable, USB-C rechargeable, 650 milliamp hour batteries. This one's by a company called Smart Tools, and they weigh next to nothing. In fact, when I first got it, I thought, this is just not going to work. There's just no way this is going to work. And they're very inexpensive, I think. And I'll have links to this stuff in the description below and also on a report on qrpr.com. But I think these cost somewhere between like $6, $7 each. Usually you buy them in a pack of 2. I have 2 of them. I even use the extra weight and space of carrying these charging cables for it. So you just plug this in here, and you plug it into any USB source. So if I'm driving a long distance to, say, a SOTA summit, I'm between summits or I'm going to a park, I can plug this into the USB port on my car and charge it on the way over there. You wouldn't think this would last a long time in terms of capacity, but with the MTR-3B, this lasts a very long time. I can probably do as many as 3 SOTA activations. If they're not super long activations, I can probably do 3 on one charge of this battery. I actually have some LiPo batteries too that I've never used, because once I discovered these, I just find them so easy to use, so convenient, that it's what I've been using. So I do have this little 9-volt adapter that works to plug into the MTR-3B. So I love these. And if I were going on a long day of activations or doing a Rove, then I'd put the second one in here in this pack. It'll easily fit in there. So I'd put that one in as well. Let's talk a little bit. Oh, I forgot to mention, this is an important part. This is the pencil that I use, and this is a Zebra Delgard. And it's one of many different types of mechanical pencils I use. I do like to use mechanical pencils when I'm doing my logs. I've been considering moving over to pens, mainly so that people who are watching my videos can see what I write a little more easily. But pencils I really love. And with Write in the Rain, anytime you're using a pencil, it's going to work really well. And it will not smudge or smear in a Write in the Rain pad. This one, all of my mechanical pencils have like kind of unique properties. This one, you don't break leads as much because it has like this shock, like spring system. So when you push down on it, the lead will move up in, and it takes some of the pressure off of the tip of the lead. And this is a 0.7 lead that's in here. And so I really love this, and I've used this a whole lot, and seems to work well. So it's one of the types of pens. So this pencil lives in here all the time in this pack. Everything that's in here just lives in here. Now, the MTR-3B is a super basic radio in many regards, and one of the things about it is it does not have a volume control. And when I'm operating in the field, if I'm not making a video, I only use earphones with it, and that's probably what you would use if you're going to the field. These are some very old Sennheiser earphones I bought when I lived in Munich, probably over 2 decades ago, and they're not super comfortable, but they're actually pretty good earphones. They don't have the soft silicone ends on them, but they're comfortable to wear during an activation, no problem at all. But the really cool key thing about it is it has an analog inline volume control. Because there's only one steady volume coming out of the MTR-3B, this allows me to change that inline. So you really need something like that with the MTR-3B. If I'm recording a video, then I'll usually export the audio through a digital recorder. And so I'll just hook a digital recorder directly up to the MTR-3B, and then I connect my earphones to the digital recorder. And I'll use my digital recorder's volume control to control the volume. In terms of a key, what I keep in here is N6ARA's tiny paddle jack. This is a wonderful little key, super crazy portable, and it works really well actually. And this even has a little adjustment tool with it, and so you just plug this in. I haven't done this properly because I'm not going to use it right now, but it shows you where the dit and the dash are, and you can hold this in your hands and use it all day long. It is a very comfortable key to use, very inexpensive, and I think everybody who does CW in the field ought to have at least one of these, if for no other reason than a backup. But I use it with my MTR-3B pretty much all the time. It's a dedicated key for use with that. So here's the key and the cord. I should say here, any of these things I could make lighter weight if I really wanted to, but I find that the weight of this, and I haven't even weighed this, I find it's very reasonable to keep in a pack with everything else I've got. And you'll see I don't have the lightest weight of everything in here. This is another thing I really love. This is the mini SWR. This one is designed for 20 to 80 megahertz, or excuse me, meters, 20 to 80 meters. And this is also produced by N6ARA. It's a really cool little kit. And what I do is when I first set up my antenna with the MTR-3B, I hook this up and I hook the antenna to it, and I key just to make sure that my SWR is actually good, because the MTR-3B does not have an SWR meter on it, not my version of the MTR-3B. Now, LNR is coming out with a newer version, and perhaps it'll have an SWR meter on it like the MTR-4B does, but this one does not. So I use this little tiny SWR meter. It just gives me peace of mind that I'm not ruining my MTR-3B. This is a K6ARK end-fed half-wave kit that I've built, and I made this one completely without any sort of counterpoise. And I'd never done this before. It does mean that the antenna is not quite as efficient as it would be if you had a dedicated counterpoise, but I was trying to keep the bulk of the antenna in check, and I didn't want to have a feed line that I'd also have to throw in this kit. Because both of those things, while they don't weigh a lot, they just bulk up the kit. Even this polystealth wire it's kind of spongy and big, and it takes up space in there. This is actually a full 40 meter end-fed half wave, which means I can run 40 and 20 meters on my MTR-3B. I can't do 30 meters. However, I am planning to convert this to a 30 meter end-fed half wave, or replace it out with a 30 meter end-fed half wave with a 40 meter link in it. And I'll probably do that so that I'll have all 3 bands with this one antenna. But I find this antenna works really, really well. I'm super pleased with it. It's usually spot on. I've never had a time when the SWR was high. Now, I do find that it does have more of a body capacitance effect on it when you use it with the MTR, not just with the MTR-3B, with any radio, because there's no counterpoise. So it's kind of, I think, the antenna's way of trying to find ground. So you'll find a little bit of variation when you're sending, but at these really low powers and everything, it actually works really, really well, especially for SOTA. And it's a pretty forgiving antenna too. It's wider bandwidth on 40 and 20 than I would have expected. So I've been very pleased with it. I didn't think it would work well, and it worked, really well. Very inexpensive antenna. Adam makes great designs. Not the easiest to build, only because the parts are really, really tiny when you're trying to build it on top of this male BNC connector. Now, finally, the last thing in here is my throw line and throw weight. Now, this is where I'm really sort of showing that I don't care about how much the kit weighs too much. This is an 8-ounce throw weight made by Weaver. It's filled with buckshot, and as you can see, I've used it enough that like the stuff's wearing off on it. I use it a whole lot. 8 ounces is, to me, it's really the smallest throw weight you can get away with. And you can really only use it on trees where you either have a really clear shot to the branch and it's not a thick canopy that you're throwing it into, or a dense tree with lots and lots and lots of branches. This is like where you have like one branch hanging over or something like that, and you just want to get it across. This is going to work really, really well. You do not want to shoot this line, a line with an 8-ounce weight, really high into a tree, because just the weight of the line and everything else will make it to where this will have a hard time coming back down to earth. And that's not what you want. But I love the 8-ounce weight. I think it's a really good compromise. I use these a lot. And this is, I think, when they call it a bullet weight, maybe. They also make solid versions of this. Now, a lot of people, they won't actually carry a dedicated weight. What they'll do is carry a little, like a Dyneema sack or something like that, and they'll put rocks in it, and they'll use that to hoist their antenna over a tree branch. Maybe I'll do that if I go on a multi-day hike doing SOTA summits along the way. If I were hiking the AT, I would probably do something like that. I would not want to carry around a full 8 ounces of weight that's unnecessary until you're just launching a line in. But for the hikes I do, which are usually day hikes, I don't think that this is a horrible addition to the weight, and I don't mind it. I'm not that obsessed over it, so I use it. But just keep in mind, you can also use a little sack and you can put rocks in it and use that. I don't think it'll work quite as effectively as a dedicated throw weight, which is really designed to kind of smoothly glide through the trees, but it'll probably be very effective for what you're trying to do with the SOTA Summit. This is 25 meters of Marlowe 2mm throw line. I call it throw line. I don't know if Marlowe actually markets this as throw line so much as because it's used in sailing and other things, other applications. But I like this stuff. It's small, it's compact, it's strong, and it tends to glide through the trees really, really nicely. So no matter where I go, as long as I've got a tree or something for the support, then this is going to work. Now, of course, if I go to a summit that doesn't have one, I'm going to probably take this out and then bring, like a telescoping pole or something else to put this on the air. But frankly, I wouldn't grab this kit for that, because this kit is specifically designed to go on POTA and SOTA outings where I know that I can use a tree as an antenna support. So that's why I use it. So this is pretty much everything in here. Now, so we'll try to repack this, and I got to be honest, there's no perfect way to do this. I try to be really methodical when I pack things. In fact, I think it's very, very important that when you pack things or pack items that you use a lot in the field, that you need to know it so well that you could pack it with your eyes closed, and you need to pack it in a way that you notice when something's missing. When I'm putting it in a case like this, and I've got a lot of loose items like this, and I don't have room to do a lot of organization inside, then, that kind of goes out the door. It's hard to make that work. To where everything has its own dedicated space in here, because there's just a little bit of finagling. And when you're in the field and you're doing a SOTA activation, those aren't the most ideal conditions, controlled conditions for putting something up either. But basically, I try to take the bulkier things and put them in here, make sure they're in. And let's see, I'll put my SWR meter over here. I'm going to squeeze it in this way, actually. It fits just fine. And I usually coil up my earphones and put them in. I can stick these about anywhere, but I usually put the earbud part down in like a little recess that I have. This all wants to spring out, right? I could get ties and put them in there and make it a little easier, but everything tends to want to spring out. And now this is the really springy part, to be honest. This is the antenna. And keep in mind that when I close this right now, there's still a lot of room at the top, right? So nothing's going to get damaged doing this. But then I take this and just put it in here like this. Make sure again that the bulky BNC connector part's right there. I put this on top. I close it, kind of like a sandwich it all in there. And the one thing you want to make sure of is that none of the wires are going across the lid. Make sure nothing's going across the lid here so that it gets pinched. That's about it. And then you close it up and you're done. That's it. And the whole thing, once it's in there, with that antenna being springy like that, actually takes up the extra space really nicely, so nothing rattles around. There's no way you can hurt this in here. It's all really secure, actually. So that's the great thing about that case. That is my MTR-3B fully self-contained field kit in my Pelican 1060 case. I'm going to try to do more of these videos because I would like to kind of explain how I pack things in my dedicated field kits. I also do what I call modular packing because I test and use a lot of different radios. So not all radios have their own dedicated field kit. If you only have one field radio or a couple field radios, I would encourage you to do field kits this way because it makes it so easy to just grab it and go to the field. You know you have everything in here. When I put this in my kit, I know that I've got everything needed in order to do an activation. So if you have any questions, feel free to comment on the video. I'm happy to answer as best I can. I'm sure you've got other ways that you do your field kits. I'd be happy to hear about that as well. And if you look on QRPer.com, we actually have a whole section dedicated to field kits and how people pack them out. Look under the resources tab and you'll find it there on QRPer.com. If you'd like to submit your own field kit detailing what you have inside and your philosophy behind how you pack it, let me know and we'll add that. In fact, this will also be in the field kit gallery. Thank you so much for joining me today. Take care out there, and until next time, 7 twos.